A lot has happened over the past 4 or 5 weeks since I made my last video. I wanted to make more videos during that time, but for a variety of reasons, one of which was speaking truthfully, I just didn't feel like making videos. But there were other legitimate reasons as to why I couldn't make any. So I'll provide a brief summary of what I've been doing for the past 4 or 5 months, because a lot has happened and I kind of want it on the channel just to have to look back on. In the last video I made, I was studying for a topology exam, and that weekend I became very sick. I did not feel good. My voice was really gone, and the next morning I went in to take my topology test. Thankfully, it went very, very well. I got a theorem that I knew how to prove. The theorem had a couple lemmas in it, which I wasn't really sure if I was allowed to use for free because they were results from class, but they were pretty easy results to prove. So I proved everything. I wrote a lot in the proof of that one theorem, much more than I needed to, in fact. And I got full credit for it, and then the other 2 problems I wrote up, and they were good too. I got full credit for them. So in total, I earned 17 points, and I needed 14 points for an A. And the way the class is built is that if you get a surplus of points, those points will be banked over into the next test, which means for the next test, I only need to get 11. My goal, really, hopefully, is to avoid proving a theorem on the next test. I don't know when it will be. He hasn't given us the full list of homework problems that we can choose from, because he gives us that list, we pick 2, we prove it on the test, and we get credit. He hasn't given us the list of theorems either. Some of the theorems he gave us this semester, or excuse me, since the last test, have been kind of scary, to use the most politically correct word. For example, we proved Brouwer's fixed point theorem, which is a monster to do in class. We proved, I'm going to mispronounce it, but I think it's called Urysohn's lemma. You know the one I'm talking about if you're familiar with topology, which is used in the proof of the Titch extension theorem, which I'm also probably mispronouncing that. But you know the ones I'm talking about. Those theorems can be kind of a headache to write down and make sure that no details are missing. So I would really like to avoid that and just do the homework problems and then bounce. Because I'm tired of taking classes. I want to do the candidacy exam, pass that. So yeah, that's another thing I probably should mention. I did not do my candidacy in October like I had planned. Sometimes these things happen. You can't really control how fast the research goes. I can tell you that I have been focusing a lot on research for the last month, almost to a detriment, because I'm supposed to be grading for the class I teach and the class I assist for. The class I teach is pretty nice because most of the homework is self-graded. The stuff that is not self-graded, I can grade pretty fast because I write the exam and I can kind of control what I expect from the students, and I can nudge them in the right way. Basically, I let them know what I expect on the quiz, and they understand what I know. So when they write it down, I'm like, yep, that's what I wanted you to do. So it makes grading easy, so it goes by fast. The other class I assist, I really have gotten... Grading for that class is not that fun, because it is a statistics course. My statistics is pretty weak. I have to even if it is just introduction to stats, most of the class is here's a calculator. It's going to do the stats for us. We just have to know how to use it. Well, I have to learn all that stuff because I don't really use those functions that much. I know it's not that big a deal. I understand that. But yeah, you still have to sit down and do it. And there's 100 people in that class. So every time there's one assignment, that's 100 grades I have to manage. And sad to say, I put off way too much of it. And now I'm in deep trouble. I have a lot to grade for that class. My excuse was I was doing research and I didn't want to. I know that's a bad habit. So don't do what I did. Stay up on top of things like I did in the first half of the semester. The second half, I'm paying for it right now. I really am. My plan is over the Thanksgiving break is to collect all of the papers I didn't grade, divide and conquer, do it over the break, enter the grades, have them submitted, and hopefully by Monday of not this week, but next week, stats will be done. I'll be completely done with stats, and we can move on from there. The monkey on my back needs to die. Oh, what else did I do that was bad? No, I didn't do anything else that was bad, but the other class that I'm taking is the complex analysis course, complex analysis 2. It's taught by a different instructor. The way he teaches is pretty nice. I don't talk about this class much, and the reason is because he doesn't give any homework in the class. The class is pretty short. He teaches from the book. You can follow along in the book pretty easily. I like the way he presents the material. It's very natural. You don't have to work very hard to understand what he is saying. You participate in class and show interest so that he likes you and he knows you're following along. But the way you get graded is that he has a presentation at the end of the semester. So he gives you, the students in the class get a list of topics. We pick our favorite topic, and each topic has a reference that you can look up and prepare your presentation from. And then you pick a day at the end of the semester where you present that topic. I am going first. I picked elliptic functions because I've read about them before in the Stein-Chikarchi complex analysis book, although this information came from the Olfers book. The instructor really likes Olfers. So I read that section of the book, and I took notes over it and all that stuff. So you can see here, this is what I plan to say. Hold on, let me get up here. So, last week I wrote up, not these notes, but similar notes in another notebook. And then I practiced it on campus yesterday. And it did not go well, my practice, because the first time you practice is not going to go well. That's a given. But it did give me a chance to figure out what it is I liked about my presentation that I prepared and what I didn't like and how much I needed to explain more. So last night I took my notes out and rewrote them on this legal pad that you have here. So now it's in greater detail and my thoughts are more organized so that tomorrow when I go in, hold on, I think I flipped one too many pages. Oh, like you're not even reading it. So when I go in tomorrow, everything will be good. Everything will flow nice. I'll get my credit. I mean, I'll get an A regardless. I just have to get through this whole thing. And I have 50 minutes to do it. You think 50 minutes is a long time, but I've been teaching for quite some time now, and I know that 50 minutes really isn't that much time. In fact, this is kind of pushing it, what I have written. I'm not going to prove every theorem. It's impossible. The topic he gave me spanned 20 pages in the textbook. Covering 20 pages worth of complex analysis is not feasible in 20 minutes or 50 minutes. But he knows this. He allows you to edit out the stuff that you don't have time for. Just as long as you demonstrate that you have an understanding of what's going on in here, he will be very happy. And I like complex analysis. I'm liking it more and more these days. But I really just want to give a good presentation, like the way I teach my pre-calculus course. I really like teaching the pre-calc course. I got a good batch of students this semester. They're fun. They do talk back to me sometimes, but they know they can. Some of them have found my YouTube channel. Some of them have not. They haven't found it yet. They know who they are. I don't know what I'll teach next semester. A lot of them have requested that I teach trigonometry, but I don't really have control over what I teach. I give them a list of classes I'm willing to teach, and then based on the demand, they'll put me somewhere. I'm not really sure what I want to teach next semester. Something easy, because I'm tired of doing hard stuff. I want to do easy things now. But that will be my presentation. I can't remember if I mentioned it because I repeat myself a lot, but this presentation I'm going to give is tomorrow. So tonight, I'm just going to rehearse maybe 2 or 3 times to myself to figure out how it is I want to say it. And then tomorrow we'll go in and do it. And then we will have Thanksgiving break, thank goodness. I really like Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite holidays, mostly because of the food. It kind of sucks. We just go straight into Christmas these days, which I like Christmas, don't get me wrong. It's just Christmas gets its own months. Christmas does not get 2 months. That's insane. They get one. Thanksgiving gets its month. So what is this stack of paper? I almost said something else. Earlier this week, do I tell this story? Yeah, the story's not that bad. So earlier this week, a friend of mine... Okay, let me start at the very, very beginning. As you are aware, the qualifying exams are very hard. In pure math, you have to take the abstract algebra qualifier and the analysis qualifier. The analysis qualifier is made up of 2 portions, the complex portion and the real analysis portion. Also, at our university's all measure theory. So, based on the videos I've made before, I'm not going to rehash old material. Those exams are very difficult, and most people don't pass it the very first time. When my group took it, that I wrote in with, we all passed the abstract algebra test, but none of us passed the analysis test. And it took us another full year of preparation for us to pass the analysis portion so that we were done with both sections. Recently, the most recent qualifier in both algebra and analysis, there was a bunch of people that came in, they took both tests, and unfortunately nobody passed anything. Everyone failed all the tests. The algebra tests, everyone failed. The analysis test, everyone failed. It was not good. So, so what they've decided to do again is to run the analysis preparatory sessions. And we've only met once this semester. There's an instructor that comes in and helps the students prepare, which is what my experience was like. This semester, it's only ran once, but earlier this week, one of the students asked one of the instructors if we were going to run the qualifier preparatory session. And he said, yeah, we can run it this week. The time that's available is 11 o'clock at this room on Friday. And he goes, okay. So make sure you send out an email. Spread it by, tell everyone that we're going to do that. But I'll send out an email later this week to remind everyone that's what we're doing. So that was the plan. Come Wednesday, no email was sent, so we reminded the instructor. He said, thank you, I'll send it out. And then came Friday, and no email was ever sent. No one ever told the other instructor that runs it to show up and actually do it. So 5 of us showed up for the preparatory session. I did not have to go. I just wanted to go because I wanted to hang out with people. I went in. 4 or 5 other people came in with me for the preparatory session, and no instructor was there. So we're like, well, what are we going to do? Because they wanted to do problems and stuff and prepare for qualifier. And I was like, well, I know some things I can show you. They're like, okay. So for about an hour and a half, I went through some problems I just had, I guess you could say, memorized. Just stuff that I remember doing in preparation for the qualifier part 2. And last night I was thinking more and more about qualifying exams, and if we do it again, which a lot of them have said they kind of want to do again with me, I decided to prepare some things for them. So the first 5 problems I tried to mimic the qualifier as close as possible, but there's 10 problems here. The first one's always a theorem, so I wrote down the proof of Liouville's theorem. I'm pretty sure it's correct. It was midnight when I wrote this, but there might be some error here somewhere. You can pause the video and tell me where I'm wrong. And some of these I had to be careful because I wanted to make sure that I wrote down the problem right and I wrote down the proof right. I have to go through these again. I wrote this pretty late last night. This one, yeah, maybe not look at that one. I have to check it some more. But there's a conformal map, there's a contour integral. This is the other part of that contour integral. And then here's Egorov's theorem, because Egorov shows up a lot. It's a 2-pager because my handwriting is big. Some of these I got off of my YouTube channel, like this problem's on the YouTube channel, and the problems of real analysis series. This was on my qualifying exam. This is a shorter version of the proof that I came up with. This is actually a better version that someone else came up with. This was on the on the YouTube channel as well, I believe. This one needs checked. I'm surprised I never put it on the channel, but I think it's correct. Anyway, yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say is I need to be more careful writing some of this stuff up before I present it to my friends, because I want them to do well and I don't want to give them false information. I take misinformation very seriously. But either way, anything to help them out, because I know exactly what they're going through. Make sure everything's in the right order. Oh, shoot. What else is there to say, really? Over the past month. Technically, when I got sick that one day, it kind of really did throw my voice out, and for a week there I did not teach. I had substitutes come in and take care of it for me. My voice was pretty bad, and if I had coughing fits, I might actually choke. I had kind of a scary, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I had a scary moment over a weekend where I couldn't breathe for a few seconds. It wasn't that serious, but in that moment it felt pretty serious, so it took a while for my voice to really fully recover. So that was kind of the reason why I stopped making videos, at least for the first week or two. And then after that was mostly laziness and doing not qualifier, but candidacy exam preparation. Unfortunately, candidacy doesn't happen as fast as you want it to. So when am I going to do that candidacy? I don't know. It's probably looking like early January, late December. Although if I'm going to be out of town, then it'll definitely be early January. I'm kind of curious to see what my advisor thinks of it right now, because he told me you should do it in October, and I didn't. On top of that, I'll give you more details later. But there is a conference that a bunch of my friends are going to. I won't say where, but it is a pretty nice place. And I really wanted to go. So I asked my advisor if I could go. And he says, you need to do your candidacy first before you go to that conference. So I'm like, okay. So that gave me a lot of motivation in the beginning to really put a lot of effort into it. Unfortunately, the progress was a lot in the beginning, and then it stopped, and I haven't been able to break through just yet. And I've talked to my advisor about the issue, and he sees the issue, and we're both trying to figure it out right now. But the conference was still weighing over me, so I basically, in one of our meetings, I just said, please, I begged. I was like, please let me go. I really want to go. And then he's like, he thought about it for 5 seconds. He's like, yeah, you can go if you really want to go. So I was pretty happy about that. Sent in my paperwork to say, hey, I can go, and got the invitation last week, the official invitation last week from the institution, and I'm looking forward to it a lot. I'm definitely going to make some content about it and put it on the channel. It's going to be a surprise, but we're going to be going in December, and I look forward to it very much. Anyway, I'm going to try and make some more videos in the future. Hopefully be a little bit more organized with what I do, but just letting you know I'm still alive. I didn't die from the illness I had in the topology video. So that's very good. All right, that's enough.